leave this valley or this tents at night unless you have a companion with you. Some reports mention that he predicted that a storm would come or a wind would come. Two people disobeyed. One of them had to go to the restroom, and the other one fled after his camel. His camel ran away, so he ran after it. And the both of them, afflictions happened to them. As for one of them, they say he went mad or he went crazy. And the Prophet made dua for him when he came back and he was found. And so he was cured. As for the second one, they say that the winds took him to a far away mountain. Literally picked him up and carried him away to a faraway mountain, and he had to make his own way back to Medina later on, according to some books. So the point being that he told them, do not exit from this valley, but two of them out of the army disobeyed, and what happened to them happened. Another incident mentioned, this is again after this now, it must be after this, so they're running out of water now. So the water they took from Tabuk is running out. The animals are withering and becoming tired. So they began to complain that, "O Messenger of Allah, do something, our animals cannot carry us." And he felt pity for them. So he said, "Bring your animals to me. Bring your animals to me." So they brought him the camels in a line, and he patted the camels and he made dua for them, Bismillah, that in the name of Allah, O Allah, cause these animals to carry those who are in your path, fi sabilik. For you are the one who carries on animals that are weak and animals that are strong, and on that which is wet and that which is dry. Most likely the reference here is to the camels that have water in them and the camels that don't have water in them, and over the land and in the ocean. The narrator of the hadith, his name is Fudala, he said, by the time we got back to Medina, our camels were so strong and energetic that we had to struggle with them to pull them back. That after this dua, they became extremely energetic. And I would say to myself, this is the dua of the Prophet. He made it for the wet and the dry. I understand. But how about the land and the ocean? How can he make dua for the ocean, land and the ocean? And then he said, it came to pass that we conquered Syria. And after we conquered Syria, then we went to conquer Cyprus. Now this was in the time of Uthman began it, and Muawiyah was the one who completed it. Uthman began a naval, and then Muawiyah completed it. So in the time of Muawiyah, you know the island of Cyprus, the beautiful tourist island, for 300 years, it was under the time of the Sahaba, Tabi'un, Tabi'un. And then, this is very controversial and the people get very irritated from that land, the Ottomans reconquered it in the 1400s, right? And then they gained their independence 100-something years ago. And that was another traumatic time for them. But Cyprus was conquered twice. First time by the Sahaba, and then by the Ottomans later on. And that was recent, relatively recent. And that's why there's a lot of animosity between the Greek Cypriots and the Turk Cypriots. There's a huge amount of animosity. You do not want to start talking about that topic, or else tempers flare, because no doubt massacres occurred on both sides, and there's tension between that. But that's not relevant to us. What's relevant to us, Cyprus was conquered in the time of the Sahaba. That's a separate story. That's not when the massacres happened. The Sahaba conquered Cyprus, so Fudala said that I was there, meaning the Prophet's dua he made in Tabuk. Now I was there, and when I saw all of the ships, I realized this is the dua of the Prophet ﷺ. Because what was the dua? Carry the people in your way on the land and in the sea. And I said to myself back then, what does this mean on the sea? And Fudala saw with his own eyes what was the reality of this, that this is on the sea. Also on the way back, another incident happened. And that is that they ran out of water again. And the Prophet made dua for rain. So that night it rained and it poured. And in the morning, the Prophet after Fajr gave a famous talk, and it is recorded in Bukhari and others, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, the Hadith Qudsi, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, some of my servants woke up this morning believing in me, and some of my servants have rejected me. How so? What happened? So some of the hypocrites had made fun of this, or not made fun of, they had ridiculed, they had said this isn't a miracle. That's what I should say. That the Prophet made dua, the rain came, they said this is not a miracle. What did they say? They said, oh, this is because of the blessings of such and such a star. Now they had back then some type of superstitious zodiac type of connection, that on this day this star, on this day that star. So they had that type of thing. So it happened to be on the day of a particular star, and they would expect that some good luck would come from that star. You know, so to this day we have the zodiac signs. They had their version of it, and that version was that if it is a particular time of the month, then a star will be able to benefit or something. So one of the munafiqun said, oh, it rained because we're in the time frame of that star. مُطِّرْنَا بِنَوْءِ كَذَا. That's what the note is, what the good luck would have. And so he said this to ridicule or to trivialize the fact that it was a miracle. And so at Salat al-Fajr, the Prophet ﷺ said, Allah has told me that he said, that today morning some of you woke up believing in me and others woke up rejecting me. As for those who said, rain has fallen because of Allah, they are believers in me. And as for those who said, rain has fallen because we are in the time or the zodiac sign of this and that, then they are believers in the stars, rejectors of me. And this hadith is a very important hadith of theology. We talk about it in theology a lot, because this shows us we do not ascribe blessings to other than Allah. And if we ascribe independent blessings to other than Allah, this is major shirk. To believe that a star will give you your rizq, obviously. Or to believe that a stone is good luck, charm, good luck charm, right? To wear a talisman, an amulet, and say, oh, this will protect me. All of this goes under this issue of good luck and bad luck, right? And every culture and society has these types of charms and rituals and symbols and whatnot, and we don't believe in any of that stuff, obviously. For those who do believe in this stuff, this hadith shows us believing in charms and amulets and good luck and bad luck, this is disbelieving in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, rejecting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And literally the hadith says, kafirun bi mu'minun bil kawakib. If you think the rain has fallen, or if you think this good luck ring or charm has protected you from an accident, right? What are you doing other than making this rock or stone into a type of idol? This is exactly what it is. And we don't believe in this. Now, I have to just point out here, if what you're wearing is Qur'an, then the scholars have differed about this, whether it's jaiz or not. And it cannot be shirk because the Qur'an is the speech of Allah and it's not separate from Allah. But some of the scholars have simply said it's not appropriate to wear the Qur'an out of respect. But nobody said that it is not allowed theologically. It's a question of respecting the Qur'an. As for seeking refuge in the Qur'an, yes, you may seek refuge in the Qur'an, because the Qur'an is the speech of Allah, and the speech of Allah is an attribute of Allah. So, having the Qur'an in the car, in the glove compartment, or dangling Ayatul Kursi from the back view mirror, for example, thinking that some barakah will come, this is not the same as a good luck charm. Essentially, it is allowed to seek barakah from the Qur'an. But practically speaking, some scholars have said, you are showing disrespect by just putting in the glove compartment with all of your other things over there, right? So the issue is not of theology, it is of fiqh in this sense. You see the point here, right? The Qur'an cannot be equated with any other charm, because the Qur'an is the kalamullah. It is speech of Allah, and therefore those hadith don't apply to the Qur'an. However, in our times you have all of these symbols and icons, horseshoe, or what is it, rabbits, for these types of things, that type of stuff. This is what would apply to these hadith. In any case, so this hadith also occurs in the incident of Tabuk. On the way back, another incident occurred. So the munafiqun are getting irritated. There were some hypocrites that took part in Tabuk. After all, there was 15,000, 20,000 people. Not all of them were of the elite of the Sahaba. Some of the munafiqun did take part, and we find some of the stories here and there. So another incident of the munafiqun took place, and that is that on the way back, the Prophet's camel was not to be found. His camel disappeared, lost. So he sent the Sahaba out to go find his camel. And one of the hypocrites said, when they heard the news that the whole army has been delayed because the camel is lost, one of the munafiqun said, astaghfirullah, that this is a man who thinks he's a prophet, and he tells you that revelation comes from the heavens, and he doesn't even know where his camel is. La hawla wa quwwata illa billah. Okay, so he said this far away from the Prophet ﷺ, and it so happened that one of the people that shared the tent with him was with the Prophet ﷺ at the time. So you understand what's happening. This is the hypocrite far away, and obviously people are divided into groups, artilleries, regiments. Somebody from his regiment happens to be with the Prophet ﷺ at the time. So the Prophet ﷺ stands up and he says, some of you have said such and such. Now the man is on the other side of the army. Nobody has come to the Prophet ﷺ. Allah has told him, some of you have said such and such. And wallahi, I am a bashar, I am a human. And I only know what Allah tells me. And Allah has just told me that my camel is stuck in such and such a valley, that its rein, its harness has caught a tree. So go get the camel. So the Sahaba went and they got the camel and they brought him back. So this man doesn't know that his regiment guy has said this. He comes back amazed. And he says, you won't believe what just happened, basically, right? And he tells the whole story. One of the other people says, that was the guy who said it. You understand, right? That was the guy. So this Sahabi becomes so inflamed that he kicks him out and he says, you're not going to accompany me, ya adu wallah, ya enemy of Allah. You're not going to have anything to do with us. So he expelled him from the camp, from the army. And so this is another mini miracle that took place, that the Prophet ﷺ, and this, by the way, really shows us, does the Prophet ﷺ know ilm al-ghayb? He himself is telling us, I am just a human, and I only know what Allah has told me. And Allah has just told me that my camel is stuck in such and such a place, go get my camel. So this clearly, beyond a shadow of a doubt, it shows us, our Prophet ﷺ does not know ilm al-ghayb other than what Allah tells him. And Allah Azza wa Jal has told him many things, and this is one of them that was mentioned. Another sad incident of the munafiqun occurred as well. So these are three or four incidents of the munafiqun that occurred, and the next one I'll mention is even more bizarre. After this one is even more bizarre. Another incident that really shows the reality of the munafiqun, and for which Allah revealed verses that we recite to this day, is that a group of munafiqun began laughing and joking too much beyond what was required, and they said statements that were completely inappropriate. One of them said that, here is the Prophet ﷺ telling us we will conquer Rome and Persia. Who does he think he is? We're going to get to Rome and Persia. You know, and if you really think about it, wallahi, this is a miracle the likes of which we cannot understand.